Good morning, children, and welcome to our environmental education class. I hope you all are fit and fine and ready to study. Okay, children. So, today we will continue the previous chapter, chapter 5, Forests. Okay, children. And I'm going to share the screen with you all. So, all of you all, please follow up. So, here we are with the previous chapter, chapter 5, forests, and we had completed the revision of what are forests and what are the importance of forests. And today we will be learning about the topic depletion of forests. Now, what is the meaning of depletion of forest means? Forests are disappearing. They are removed, and this is what in detail we will learn about. That is, with the industrialization, urbanization, and expanding agricultural activities, additional land is required. No, children? For the construction work, for industries, for agricultural activities, we need so much of land. Why? Because of increase in population. Population is increasing day by day, so our needs are also increasing, and that's how we need space to construct and build houses and industries and agricultural activities also. So for all these things, what are we doing? We are removing the forests. What are we doing? We are cutting the trees and we are using the land, and this land is obtained by clearing forests. So what are we doing? We are clearing forest and removing forest and preparing land for ourselves to use, to build houses and stay, for the industries, and also for the urbanization, and also for agricultural activities to grow crops. What are we doing? We are clearing the forest. So it must be remembered that a forest can be destructed in few days. Okay, in a few days we can clear the forest, but it takes years to grow a forest, and forests grow very slowly. If the trees are felled beyond a certain limit, they cannot be regenerated. So that means increased population and consequent urbanization and industrialization had exerted a tremendous pressure on forests, as the need for timber grows for various reasons. Due to inadequacy of protection measures, forest land has been converted to non-forest use. For example, as I told you just now, agricultural activities and building and construction work and industrialization, etc. So the tendency to look at forests as a revenue earning resource only has undermined its importance as an ecological asset. Okay, children. And now you see here a picture of deforestation. Here you can see the forested area. At the back you can see some trees, but this part, all the trees have been cut. And this is what is known as cutting of the trees is deforestation. Means that is clearing of forests. So deforestation affects the wildlife because forests are home for wild animals, for wildlife. So because of deforestation, wildlife is affected. And in the past decades, many animal species have become endangered. Endangered species, and some are on the verge of extinction. So understood, children? Deforestation is not good for everyone. For plants, we are cutting the plants. For animals, forests are home for animals, and also for us, because forests give us pure oxygen and they give us rainfall. So now we go further and we learn about our country India, that India is losing more than 1.5 million hectare of forest cover each year. Can you imagine? Due to deforestation, we are losing 1.5 million hectare of forest cover each year. And according to Tiwari Committee, which was set up in 1982, as per their report, 22 million hectare of forests have been destroyed during the last 3 decades due to over exploitation and misuse. Followed due to over exploitation and misuse of forests. So children, for this reason, to stop deforestation, we have to stop deforestation. We have to stop the removal, cutting of the trees and disappearing of forests. The next topic we read in about how to manage the forest. How to manage the forest means, here we can say that some important steps are given for the management of forests. So in forestry, the forests are looked upon as a rich natural resource and manage to provide a continuous yield without endangering the wildlife or the ecology of forests. Okay, children. So we are on to this topic, management of forests. So thus, following are the important steps in planning of forest management. So here are some important steps for the management of forests. And the first step is, a forest should have correct proportion of the trees of different ages and classes, so that continuous removal of old trees would not affect the future yield. Second step is, normal and continuous growth of each tree crop should be ensured. Third step is, indiscriminate felling of trees should be checked. Okay, children. And also we can say there is one more step, we can call it a fourth step, that is, for effective forest management, a sound knowledge about climatic conditions, biotic community, and life cycles of important tree species and biotic interrelationships are necessary. Okay, children. So we have learned about the important steps for the management of forests. Now we have the next topic, that is forest conservation and national forest policy. Okay, children. So what is forest conservation or conservation of forests. So here, for humans to survive, what we have to do? We have to conserve forests. Now, as we know, due to deforestation, forests are removing, forests are not there, we are cutting the trees. And apart from deforestation, human activities, no, human act, natural factors. Apart from human act, we are cutting the trees. Who is cutting the tree? People are cutting the tree. So apart from us, we are of course destroying the forest. But apart from human activities, natural factors are also there, such as tsunami, forest fires, landslides. They also cause loss of forests and wildlife. So thus, conservation of forests has become a global issue. So for humans to survive, we must actively contribute to save these important natural resources, mainly the forests and also the wildlife. So as we go further, realization regarding importance and conservation of forest was always there. Now, however, the first real step came in the form of Forest Conservation Act in the year 1980, which prohibited use of forest lands for non-forest purposes except with the permission of the central government. And then under this act, such permission is generally not granted. Though the act is there, but such permission is generally not granted, because who will allow to cut the trees? But however, in case of absolutely unavoidable circumstances, permission is given on terms. What is the condition? There is one condition a permission can be given, and that is absolutely unavoidable circumstances permission it is, and it will be given on terms of compensatory reforestation. Means if you are cutting the trees, using them, then you have to again plant the trees. You have to do plantation. We have to plant trees, and that means reforestation has to be done. Replantation has to be done. That is, under the act, this permission is generally given only on one condition, and when it is absolutely unavoidable circumstances, then permission is given on terms of compensatory reforestation. As a result of strict enforcement, the rate of diversion of forest land has come down to about 16,000 hectares per annum, as against 1.5 lakhs hectares per annum before this act. So you can imagine, when the act was not passed, it was 1.5 lakhs, and after the act was passed, it came down to 16,000 hectares per annum. Then in the year 1985, which year? In year 1985, the National Wasteland Development Board was set up to promote afforestation. Afforestation means to plant more and more plants and trees. And its objective was to bring 5 million hectares of wasteland every year under fuel wood and fodder plantations. Fodder is food for animals. With the participation of the people. So with the help of the people. So this was a National Wasteland Development Board. When was it set up? It was set up in 1985 to promote afforestation. And the main objective was to bring 5 million hectares of wasteland every year under fuel wood and fodder plantation. And this could happen with the participation of people, means all of us together. The National Forest Policy. Now we come to here, so many national forest policies were there for protection of forest, for afforestation, to stop deforestation. So here are some main features of national forest policies. So the National Forest Policy adopted in 1952 aimed at forest coverage of 1/3 of the total land area of the country. And the main features of national forest policies are, the first feature of national forest policy is maintenance of environment stability through presentation and restoration of ecological balance. Okay, children. And the second national forest policy is, the main feature, conservation of natural forests and protecting the vast genetic resources for the benefit of future generations. Okay, children. So this was the second main feature of national forest policy. Now we come to the third main feature of national forest policy. So the third main feature of national forest policy is that it also aims at meeting the basic needs of people, especially firewood, fodder, and small timber for rural and tribal people, and maintaining the relationship between forests and the tribal people living around the forests. So children, this was the third main feature of the National Forest Policy. So we have completed the topic, the main features of National Forest Policy. And children, I also want to tell you all about that in our country, India alone, we have about 45,000 species of plants. Do you know that? So we must know that in our country alone, we have about 45,000 species of plants. And on March 21st, do you understand? 21st March is celebrated as World Forest Day. Okay, children. So these were the two important points, information, which I have given it to you all. And now, finally, we will go through the measures of conservation of forests. As we have already read about, the conservation of forest is so very important, and it is our duty. It is our duty to save forests. And here I am going to tell you in short some points how to conserve forests. So we can conserve forest by efficient use of forest products. Okay, children. And then we can also conserve forests by creating national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and bioreserves. Means they should be created to protect plants and animals. And in these protected areas, plants and animals occupy their natural habitat, because animals also can live here freely. So we have to protect our forests. We have to conserve our forests for our wildlife. And in these areas, human activities such as hunting, fishing, etc. should be prohibited. So by this, we can conserve forests. We can also conserve forests by preservation of creeks, lakes, and wetlands. How? The wetlands need to be protected from pollution and poor management. These areas need preservation to protect the aquatic plants and animals. Okay, children. And they are also important as many people depend on wetlands for food and income. And we must also have some awareness programs for the conservation of forest. For example, the awareness programs like we should celebrate Van Mahotsav, Wildlife Week, etc. should be encouraged. And the schools should have eco club through which we, all the students and teachers together, are encouraged to participate in conservation programs. Awareness programs should also be conducted about the endangered wildlife species and how we people, citizen of our country, can help and protect them. Okay, children. Now, the next step for the conservation of forest are, there are so many laws, enactment of laws. Laws have been framed against poaching, means against hunting. Hunting animal is illegal and hunting of animal is banned. So laws have been framed against poaching. Okay, children. And usage of certain animals so children, we were revising about the enactment of laws for conservation of forests. Okay, laws have been framed against poaching and usage of certain animal products has been banned. For example, Shahtoos shawl made from hair of Tibetan antelope is banned. Strict penalties should be applied under laws such as Wildlife Protection Act and Forest Act. Okay, children. And special conservation programs and organizations. So there are some special conservation programs also, and so many organizations are there who are working for the conservation of forests. For example, special programs like Project Tiger should be launched. Project Tiger was aimed at protecting Bengal tigers from extinction. Special organization like the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, SPCA, and the Worldwide Fund for Nature and the prevention of extreme treatment to animals have been established. So overall, children, it is the prime duty of every citizen to conserve forests, to conserve plants, and also animals. That means to conserve forests and to conserve wildlife for the survival of the present and as well as the future generation. Okay, children. So, children, we have learned in chapter 5 forest about what is forest and what are the importance of forests. So the importance of forests are protective importance. Protective importance are that forests help in maintaining water table. Forests help to maintain humidity, and forests also help to prevent soil erosion by binding it and not allowing the soil to run away with water. Now, under the category of productive importance, how forests are productive to us, that is, they give us timber, cane, bamboos, essential oils, resins, etc. And forest animal provide us with honey, meat, ivory, hide, skin, lac, etc. And apart from these, a number of forest plants find use in medicines such as eucalyptus and cinchona. The oil from eucalyptus is used to relieve from pain, whereas the bark of cinchona tree gives medicine, that is quinine. And this medicine quinine is helpful against malaria. Now the third importance of forest is accessory importance. These importance are that the role of forest is in recreation. So many jungle safaris are there, people go, we find so peaceful in the nature surrounding us, and then aesthetics and as habitat to wild variety of wildlife. So forests are also home for wild animals. Okay, children. And now the fourth importance of forest is classified into two categories, that is ecological importance and economic importance. So according to ecological importance, forests help in balancing oxygen and carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere, and they regulate Earth's temperature regime and the water cycle. Okay, children. They also increase the local precipitation and water holding capacity of the soil. And thus forests prevent drought situation. Okay, children. And finally, vegetation cover slows down the runoff of soil surface, checking soil erosion. So that means the forest, the big trees, the plants, their roots, they prevent soil erosion, silting and landslides, reducing the danger of flood. And fallen leaves maintain the fertility of soil by returning the nutrients. Forests also provide home to large number of wild animals, protecting them against strong winds and solar radiation. Okay, children. So here we have the next importance of economic significance is that they give us wood. The chief product of forest has various domestic and industrial applications. Okay, children. So, children, this is all for today. We have completed the chapter. Your duty is to revise. See you in the next class. Thank you for watching. Till then, take care and have a nice day ahead.